Chapter Whispers of Destiny and First Steps. Sam hailed from Cygnus Minor, a planet orbiting a pale blue dwarf on the far reaches of the outer sectors, in a system often overlooked on most star charts. Cygnus Minor was a world of subtle beauty, gentle, emerald grass-covered hills, crystal rivers winding through ancient forests with silvery leaves, and calm, azure oceans. There were no great metropolises here. The inhabitants, few and scattered, lived in small, self-sufficient settlements nestled into the landscape like Alba Longa, Sam's home village. The houses in Alba were built from local, light-colored wood and river stone, their roofs covered with living, flowering vegetation. The society of Cygnus Minor was simple, based on mutual respect and a deep connection with nature. They did not strive for technological advancement, valuing craftsmanship and harmony over the rush towards modernity. The frequency of the force's vibration on Cygnus Minor was unique. It was not a powerful energy manifesting in spectacular ways as could be found in ancient temples or places of power. It was rather a delicate, almost inaudible melody, an omnipresent, gentle whisper permeating every living being and every stone. The subtle vibration had a profound impact on the inhabitants. It created an atmosphere of peace and contemplation, but at the same time, it gave rise to a certain form of collective hallucination. The conviction that their world was the only one worthy of attention, and the rest of the galaxy was a distant, chaotic, and insignificant clamor. This, in turn, led to a degree of isolation and a reluctance to change, a kind of stagnation in bliss. However, it was precisely this subtle force, undisturbed by violent currents, that allowed Sam from his earliest years to develop an extraordinary sensitivity to its quietest promptings. He felt no need to rise above collective beliefs by willpower. Rather, he naturally sensed a broader context, as if he heard further verses of a song to which others listened, only to the chorus. From his earliest years, Sam seemed to be guided by this invisible hand of the force. Raised in this peaceful enclave, from childhood he showed an unusual ability to find lost farm animals in the dense forests, to predict impending weather changes with uncanny precision, or to calm frightened children with a single gentle touch and a quiet word. The inhabitants of Alba Longa considered him an oddball, albeit a kind one, his openness manifested in that he never questioned his hunches, where others saw chaos. As during the annual festival of first buds, when the rarely used lighting generator failed, plunging the square into darkness, he perceived a hidden order, suggesting an unconventional connection of old, almost forgotten underground power cables, which, to everyone's astonishment, illuminated the festival with a riot of colors when others encountered a wall. As during the search for the village's lost artifact, a small sculpture symbolizing unity, which had disappeared from the elder's house, he found an unexpected gateway, pointing to an old dry stream bed leading to a small grotto hidden behind a waterfall, which no one had known about before. There lay the artifact, safe and sound. He didn't call it luck or destiny. For him, it was an allowing, a quiet yes. to the whispers of the force, which always showed the way. The desire to see more than just the gentle hills of Cygnus Minor eventually pushed him towards the stars. Before joining the Star Whisper, he briefly worked on Krelos Prime. A planet that was the complete opposite of his home world. Krelos Prime was the heart of an industrial consortium, a city planet, whose surface was almost entirely covered by gigantic factories, refineries, and towering, narrow, residential skyscrapers. Reaching into clouds full of toxic fumes, cities like Neo-Krelos City were labyrinths of metal and glass, eternally illuminated by neon lights, pulsating with the noise of machines and crowds. The society of Krelos Prime was hierarchical, ruthlessly pragmatic, and driven by constant consumption and production. The force vibration on Krelos was chaotic, harsh, and overwhelming. Like the screech of metal and a cacophony of alarm sirens, it was an energy of despair, ambition, and fear, amplified by the artificial environment and the collective stress of millions of beings crammed into a small space. The collective hallucination of Krelos' inhabitants was the belief that only relentless work, accumulating credits, and climbing the corporate ladder made sense. Spirituality was an almost unknown word here, and moments of silence or reflection were considered a waste of time. For Sam, his stay there was a difficult experience. The constant clamor of the force caused him physical pain, but it also caused him to find inner silence, even in the greatest chaos, and to perceive single. Lost sparks of light in the souls of people trapped in the system. The few force sensitives on Krelos often descended into madness, became ruthless manipulators exploiting others' fear, or tried to completely cut themselves off from their abilities to survive. His first great adventure began aboard the worn-out freighter, Star Whisper. It was a YT-950 class ship, somewhat battered but with a soul, belonging to an old Twi'lek named Naren, who saw something more in young Sam than just another hand, willing to do physical labor, perhaps a remnant of that calm aura of Cygnus Minor, which contrasted so much with the nervous pulse of most spaceports. The crew consisted of Naren, his cynical but loyal Rhodian First Officer Shani, and two loud, quarrelsome but reliable Celestin mechanics. A transport mission carrying rare healing crystals to the distant planet. Thar encountered the treacherous Phantom Nebula and an ambush by pirates from the Misty Belts, a ruthless gang led by the infamous Captain Vorlak, known for leaving no witnesses. Thar was a wild and seismically unstable planet, known for its unusual crystal formations that grew in deep volcanic caves. These crystals, pulsating with inner light, possess unique healing properties, being a product of the planet's very specific force vibrations, strong, raw, and untamed, like a constant storm of energy. This vibration affected everything. It accelerated the growth and mutations of local flora and fauna, making it as beautiful as it was dangerous. Kthar's society was a collection of daredevils, crystal-seeking miners, scientists studying force anomalies, traders from the fringes of the law, and all sorts of adventurers. Their collective hallucination was a gold rush fever. The belief that great wealth or discovery was just around the corner, which drove them to take enormous risks and often led to conflict. Force sensitives on Cathar often became powerful but unstable individuals, like shamans drawing from the planet's wild magic. The crew of the Star Whisperer, seasoned veterans of space lanes, prepared for a desperate fight, checking weapons and shields. Shani was already issuing combat orders. Sam, however, listening to the pulse of the Force, which here, near the Phantom Nebula, resonated with Cathar's chaotic energy. Creating complex but perceptible currents for him, felt something different, a delicate thread of resonance, an almost musical vibration, leading deep into the seemingly impenetrable nebula, into a sector marked on maps as Dragon's Maw, due to the density of asteroid fields and gravitational anomalies. Instead of fighting, he persuaded Captain Naren to steer the ship into a place that all maps showed as certain doom. "Trust me, Captain," he said quietly, and there was such certainty in his voice that Naren, against Shani's protests and logic, relented inside the nebula. As the ship shook from nearby asteroid explosions and gravitational shears, Sam, standing on the bridge with his eyes closed, merely suggested minor course corrections, slightly to port Naren now gently down. The Star Whisperer slipped through a labyrinth of cosmic currents and asteroid fields, as if the nebula itself parted before it, leading them safely to the other side. While Vorlag's pirate ships, trying to follow, fell into gravitational traps or collided with each other in the chaos. The crew, initially terrified, then astonished, called it a miracle. Sam knew it was the first true experience of the perfect quantum entanglement. The Force provided a solution. He merely trusted and allowed it to happen. Shani, though still skeptical, looked at Sam for the first time with something akin to respect, seeing how his calm contrasted with the panic that had gripped even the most experienced crew members.